Shoshanna Shapiro is the character everybody slept on. The bubbly, overly eager roommate and little cousin who got reduced to the punchline a lot of the time. But if you've ever been the weird little sister of the friend group, experienced anything like cracksident, have your dream job ripped away from you, or just feel like you could have better role models than the ones you were given, her arc might just give you the permission you need to follow your dreams, even if it's disappointing to others. By the way, if you love cozy yaps about pop culture and TV shows like this one, to see how it can help you manifest your dreams, I'm Kira, this is Studio Violet, and definitely hit subscribe if you want more. Okay, let's go. We get introduced to Shoshanna as the naive little cousin of Jessa. Lena wasn't actually planning on having Shoshanna in the series for longer than an episode, but I'm reading her book right now, and she said that Zasha Mamet's acting, she just had to have it more in the show. It just felt like it fit so much more. And could you even imagine Girls Without Her now? I think you can immediately tell, even if her age was never actually said out loud in comparison to the other girls, you can tell that she's super naive. She's super eager to learn more about the girls. She's very excited that her cousin Jessa is coming to stay over with her. She thinks she's so cool, so classy, that doesn't have things like Facebook, and that she's traveled the world. And I think actually Shoshanna is just getting out of college. I think she might maybe be in like the tail end of her senior year, because the other girls have been graduated for about 4 years. In episode 2, when all the girls go to the clinic to help Jessa get an abortion, Shoshanna comes with candy. And she compared it to like when her sister had a baby, we were waiting around a long time and we needed candy or something like that. Like, even though it's the actual opposite of what's happening, I thought that was so funny. I feel like I have a lot of friends who are older than me, a lot of friends who are moms, a lot of friends who have a house, who have things that I don't have yet. So I feel like I'm constantly learning from them. So there's moments in my life where I'm just like, wait, what is the appropriate thing to get? Like, I'm being invited to more engagement parties and more birthday parties and events and weddings. And I'm like, what are the rules, right? And so Shoshanna, I don't think there is really a rule to going to an abortion, but she's like, okay, I think the rule for doing anything baby or unbaby related is candy. So you see her mind is just trying to associate and learn so fast. And I'll talk about this more. Like, she's around these girls, she's learning at the speed of light, and you see she speaks so quickly, and I think that you can imagine how much her brain is going if that's how fast she's speaking. And I didn't catch this until like the 6th or 7th watch through, but the iconic all adventurous women do phrase actually comes from Shoshanna in episode 3 of season 1, where she's asking Hannah what her baggage is, and Hannah says that she has HPV. Shoshanna tells Hannah that Jessa had also contracted HPV by knowingly sleeping with a guy who had it, and said, well, she says all adventurous women do. And I didn't connect the dots that when Hannah was tweeting later all adventurous women do, that was something that Shoshanna had said that Jessa had said. So I love that thread. Even episode 3, she's like weaving these threads together of all of these things that she's learning, unknowingly teaching these girls that are a lot older than her so many lessons that she's learning from each of them. Now, this part of season 1, Shoshanna is really grappling with the fact that she is still a virgin and she's about to graduate from college. She's very self-conscious about it. She ends up like meeting up with this guy that she went to a camp with, and he refused to do it with her because she is a virgin. And there was this moment too with her and Marty when they were waiting in the waiting room when Jessa just never came, and she's like, I haven't done anything yet. And Marty's like, it's okay, it's really overrated. And you can tell she's kind of freaking out. And you've definitely had an experience like this, anything that you're like, I haven't done this yet. I haven't done this yet. Oh my gosh, I'm even later on in our lives, like I'm 29 and I don't have a house yet, or whatever it might be. Then we happen upon the iconic cracksident where Shoshanna goes out to a party with everybody and she accidentally, and she's describing it in a way where she's like, no, it was like cigarette, or it was like glass. And Jessa had this really funny moment. She's like, Shoshanna, you smoke. It's fine. It's a lot of fun. I'll be your spirit guide. And then she obviously goes off to do something else. And if you want a little bit of a deep dive into Jessa, I actually go more into it in this episode above. So definitely watch this afterwards. And this is where she meets Ray. And I think it's so interesting because Ray initially gets this first impression of her as this person he needs to babysit. Whereas later on in the series, And even soon after, she's the one who actually turns around and says, you need to get a job. You need to be better at XYZ. You need to pay for your rent. You can't be homeless. You need to get an apartment. Like, she's actually doing the opposite with him, which goes back to this idea that she's constantly just going, she's learning at the speed of light, this girl. And that's why I can relate to her so much, because I try to get myself into rooms with people that are a lot older than me, that are a lot further than me, people who are doing exactly what I want to do. And that's where she is right now. Now, albeit she has a lot of moments where she realizes, you guys are 4 years older than me and you've basically achieved nothing. Like, I hope I'm not like that. But I love how Ray kind of happens upon her in this way. And she's so naive that she kicks him in the crotch and he's like, ow. And she's like, oh my gosh, I can massage it in a non-sexual way. And he's like, okay. You're like, come on, Ray, come on. But you're like, dude, Ray's just a guy. Like, he's just a guy at the end of the day. Comment down below, like, do you think Ray at that point was being like a guy who's like, yeah, I'll take a massage from a girl? Or was he actually just genuinely trying to see what kind of person she is and just trying to size her up a little bit in a non-aggressive way? Comment down below. I'm very curious. And then the last episode of season 1, Shosh loses her virginity to Ray. And it was actually another moment where he's like, wow, I have a lot of responsibility right now. I'm going to be the one educating you on how this is done. And she's like, oh, okay. And he's like, okay, yeah, I'll do it. Like, again, it's just man being a man. Shoshanna's theme for season 1, woman. Not only because she's the one who actually says all adventures women do, but in the traditional way that we see things, she has become a woman because she is now not a virgin. However you might take that or see that. We kind of talk about that a little bit. It's a very coming of age time for her. And I think even if you have lost your virginity a while ago, there's moments in your life where you're reminded that, you have this new era of being a woman. Maybe like you've become the breadwinner of your family. Maybe you've moved out. Maybe you have your first full-time job. I used to not really do my hair and makeup. I wouldn't really get ready in the morning and dress in a way that I really was proud of. And a few months ago, I just started doing that. I started taking a little better care of myself. I got some nice makeup. Shout out to Ilya. Love this makeup. Love this highlighter. And I started putting myself together a little bit more. So that was my own woman season 1 Shoshanna era for me. So if you feel like there's a point in your life where you're like, I'm graduating to a different part of womanhood, whatever that might mean to you, it could be in the non-traditional sense too, then just remember that you and Shoshanna are not too different. Now, season 2, Shoshanna's actually trying to avoid Ray, and I couldn't really remember why. I don't know if she was like upset at him for her losing her virginity to him. I can't really remember, but she was trying to avoid him. They couldn't avoid each other. She was getting back together with him, and I guess maybe she didn't want to be in a relationship with him, or I don't know, honestly. Drop in the comments if you are clear on what that whole dynamic was, because I was a little bit confused on why she was suddenly like really angry at him. And then there's this moment where Shosh realizes that Ray has been staying over, and she's like, wait, you stayed over last night and the night before? And actually the night before and the night before that. And then she realizes, she's like, he's homeless. You don't actually have an apartment. Oh my gosh, this was supposed to be a time. This was supposed to be a thing, a significant thing when I lived with my partner. And she got really upset at him. I think for that, and then just for the fact that like he kind of just has been doing it without really asking. And I think she realized to herself, I want to be with a guy who has his own place, who has aspirations. She mentions her Aunt Eileen, and I'm like, is that Jess's mom? Or is that another of their shared aunts? Because she talks a lot about how Aunt Eileen said, this is what your first date's supposed to be like. And Aunt Eileen might have talked to her about what it's like to move in with a guy for the first time. It feels like she gets a lot of her information about what it's like to be a woman from Aunt Eileen or from the girls. But her and Ray both share with each other that they love each other. It's a sweet little moment. Then we have this moment where Shoshanna and Ray are in the park, and she sees this friend, and her friend invites her to her party, and Ray's like, I'm not going to a college party. I'm like a grown man. I'm not going to do that. And Shoshanna's like, stop being unfun. I'm going to go by myself. And she ends up making out with a doorman. And it was kind of sad to see, because I'm like, don't be like the other girls. Don't be like Marnie. Be better. But I remember my first watch around in this series when I'm like, you know what? All right, I have to just accept the fact that this is how Lena is going to write the characters. They're very unlikable. I actually made an entire video about the unlikability of girls, and you can watch it right here, that there isn't going to be a clear good and bad, right and wrong, like in other series. The first thing that comes to mind is New Girl, when she breaks up with her ex-boyfriend, and then she picks up all of his stuff. Like, the ex-boyfriend is bad. We all know that. She's good, he's bad. But there's a little bit more of a cryptic energy in Lena's writing, because she doesn't want us to have a clear love and hate to any particular person. We all love parts of these people, and we all hate parts of these people. And it's very nuanced, just like in real life. And if you watch Tiny Furniture, which was actually the show that catapulted her career and eventually brought about Girls, there is a lot of this realism, not just in the character writing, but like in the hair. Like, she doesn't do her hair, she doesn't do her makeup. It's very realistic, and I really appreciate that in this show too. So while we have high hopes for Shoshanna, it's not this clear, wow, Shoshanna is obviously the best and she's the good guy and everyone else is the bad guy. She does bad stuff too. I also found it interesting that there were a lot of cheating moments where the cheating wasn't ever addressed. And I don't think I've ever seen that in any other show. Like, Shoshanna lies and says that she just held his hand. And Marnie never tells Ray and Desi about one another later on. Like, I've never seen a show that does that. There always has to be these closed loops. I'm watching White Lotus right now, and there's moments where I'm like, oh, that's going to come back. Oh, that's going to come back. Oh, that's going to come. And the loop always closes. But for this, it's a little bit realistic, unfortunately, for a different part of population that thankfully I'm not really involved in. Like, I don't have friends who do things like that. But the reality is there's a lot of people who do that. So Shoshanna's been acting weird because of this. Ray thinks it's because he doesn't really have a job and he's not aspirational, which it is that too. So he comes and says, hey, look, I have this new manager position at the cafe. And she goes, I love you so much, but I feel like I love you like I love like a monkey that's in this ugly cage. I just love that line so much. And I really want to do an episode where I break down the pilot script. I want to do all the scripts, but I can only find the pilot script. So let me know in the comments if that's the next one you want me to do. Because there's so many moments where I'm like, was that improv? Like, was that really in the script? I know something that Judd Apatow had a lot of the characters do was they had to kind of end a scene or start a scene or have some line in a scene that's different every time. It seems like he's very giving with improv, which I love. So Judd Apatow, if you're watching this, start me at a small part, but I need to see the process. I gotta see it. Through like my years at Esper where it was very improv based, like it's just so fascinating to see like what was improv, what was not. Everyone's so natural. Anywho, she breaks up with him and she's like, I just feel like I feel bad for you more than I love you. And that's a pretty mature thing, I think, to realize at her age. I mean, what is she, 22, 23? I don't know if I was that mature when I was 22 or 23. If I was like, hey, listen, I love you, but I love you like I pity love you, not like I romance love you. So I thought that was really interesting. If you like more videos like this, by the way, definitely hit subscribe. I have a whole girl series, and let me know what series I should do next. Comment below. Season 2 theme with Shoshanna, breaking. She's breaking off relationships. She's breaking off versions of herself, I think, that she has matured through. I think she's creating these boundaries between her and other people and really seeing, what do I want in a man? Am I going to cling on to this relationship that I know doesn't serve me? Or am I going to break it? And I'm going to break down my past so I can actually have a brighter future. And I think this theme could come up for you if you have a fear of disappointing people. This is something that's coming up in my life where I'm moving so fast, and maybe you're moving so fast, you're progressing in your career or you're figuring out what you want, right? But there's going to be people in your life, be it family or friends or anyone, who either has a bad attitude about it or it just feels like they're holding you back. And once you release it, even though it's scary, that's actually where a huge part of the opportunity comes from. And most people don't do that, and that's why a lot of people do stay kind of at the same level. But if we want to ignite our inner Shosh, then we can take on some of that season 2 Shoshanna energy of breaking off some things that might not be serving us anymore. Maybe it's a job. Maybe it's a friendship. Anything you feel like isn't adding to your life or isn't inspiring to you, you're allowed to break things off. You're allowed to disappoint people. I actually heard that from Jefferson Fisher. Like, hey, it's okay to disappoint people. It's actually good because it shows that you're really clear about your boundaries. And Shosha's doing that really well in season 2. We open season 3 with Hannah asking Shosh and Adam to drive up to pick up Jessa from rehab. And this is some of the best Shosh lines ever. We have like her walking in the woods and being like, I saw somebody have full-on cunnilingus in a place just like this on a day just like today. The iconic I will never be bored as long as there's Halloween. Her and Hannah singing and Adam just like completely destroying the radio because they were being so obnoxious. Her saying she's allergic to Chex Mix. Her bringing back this entire rocking chair as a souvenir. Like, just so many amazing lines. And maybe her funniness is just elevated when you're doing more stuff with her and traveling with her. Like, I want to be Shosh's best friend. I feel like we'd have a hoot. She's also like really nervous at the rehab too, and she's pacing back and forth, and the rehab person is like, you can sit down, and she's like, like she's so nervous. Imagine you being 23 and going to this like big scary adult rehab. If I was 23, I would imagine like people, I don't know. I'm like, what's going on with people? Are they going to attack me? I don't know. Like, you know, you just have these generalizations about things that are usually not true. Girl Interrupted vibes. Like, that's really the only movie we've seen about any sort of institution like that. That's super overgeneralized, obviously. So I can understand her feeling really nervous and being like, what's going to happen? Where am I? What is she going to look like? She's always really nervous about Jessa. Where is she? And is it hot there? Is she warm enough? Is she? And usually it's just like, she's fine. She's done this to herself, right? And then we have Jessa coming to Shosh for advice when she realizes, like, I might be the problem, Jessa. Jessa realizes I might be the problem in relationships. And she asks Shosh if she has a friend who died, and Shosh describes that she did. And she's like, it's okay, like, it was actually better as a threesome. Like, we couldn't have 2 practical yet quirky confidants or something like that. And I just thought that was hilarious. And so that inspires Jessa to go visit her dead friend Season. Realizes Season isn't dead, and she literally just said she was to get away from Jessa. So it's even more of an affirming realization that Jessa's like, am I really that bad? And then even during that scene, Shosh had this entire thing about her friend. And then Jessa was like, wait, who's that? What are you talking about? She's like, my friend who died. She's like, what friend who died? Like, she just didn't even listen at all. And Beach House is where a lot of stuff gets loaded off of Shoshanna. And you see that she's a very mean drunk. And that on the surface, she's very curious. She's very fast-talking and perceptive, but in a very fast way. Almost like she's memorized instructions about life from a cereal box, and she's just like, oh, well, you're supposed to do this at this age, and you're supposed to do this at this age. When she's drunk, she's like, you guys are sad and pathetic, and she dishes to every single person. And I would argue that it's the first significant time that someone inside the friend group actually talked about how selfish and narcissistic this entire friend group is. We hear Ray saying things, we hear maybe Adam saying things and some outside people, but we never actually hear it within the friend group. And the fact that it's the youngest member of the friend group kind of says a lot. Now, Shoshanna's attempt to want to fix things also is not just in aggressive words when she's drunk. She also sees that Jessa is spiraling back into drugs, specifically with this guy Jasper she met in rehab. So she tries to rekindle this relationship Jasper has with his daughter and get involved in what Jess is doing. And I don't know how I feel about it. Like, I don't know. I can see that she's really concerned for her cousin. You know, I can see that if you see that your cousin is really struggling with addiction, what you'll do for people that you love. I've never really been in that situation, so I don't know what I would do, but I think it was pretty thoughtful of her, and I think that she meant well, even though Jessa didn't take it well. Jessa's Jessa, and she's kind of living in her own world, and I have thoughts about Jessa that you can watch in my Jessa video. And the end of season 3 kind of sucks for Shosh, because first she realizes she can't graduate because she failed a class, and that was the same time that Marty comes to her and says she slept with Ray. So she's just like not happy. I would not be too. And then she has this moment at the Major Barbara premiere where she says that she wants Ray back. And even Ray is like, dude, like, we've moved on. I've moved on. You've moved on. I don't think this would be good. And I think you kind of see a very similar experience that Marty had with Charlie, where as soon as you see your guy with someone else and see like they're able to get other girls, you kind of feel this possession over them again. And you kind of feel like, well, okay, well, I just needed that affirmation that other girls would like them, so now I want them back. Our season 3 Shosh is a vocal Shosh. And I want it to inspire you to be more vocal in your life and more truthful. Now, was the way that she was truthful in Beach House the best way to be? No. I think being a mean drunk is probably not great for anybody. That delivery was not very kind. But what parts of your life have you not been truthful in? Or what parts have been hidden underneath this facade of like, everything's fine, everything's good? No, that's like my default go-to, especially when I work with clients. It's like, hey, can you give me this? Can you send this over to me? Yeah, of course. I just want to be so easy. I want them to be like, here it is, great. She will do everything and she's on time and la la la. But sometimes I realize, I'm like, that's not my job. Actually, you can ask this person to do it, or I already sent it to you. I'm so quick to just say yes and to appease people that I forget that I have my own standards and boundaries for myself. And I bet there are moments that you do that too, my friend. I'm sure there are things that you do in your life where you're so quick to say yes and then you realize you have to do it and you're like, wait, that was why? Why did I say yes so fast? So maybe this is a reminder for all of us that we can take a deep breath before we say yes to things. And as a second kind of lesson in this season 3, what is underneath all of that yes manning? What's the truth? And how can we bring that truth to life, even just for ourselves, even if it's not saying it directly to someone that we want to say it to? Or maybe it is. Maybe it is being honest with someone. Maybe it is quitting that job and finding another one and being like, you know what, I'm not happy here. Something that I found too is as soon as I started being really truthful to clients, I started getting more and better ones because I started creating my own boundaries and saying, hey, I'm not doing that. I'm not in charge of that. And it almost like they respected me more because of it. They respected the fact that I knew what my role was and I was only going to focus on what I needed to do. So go be vocal, girl. You do it. I believe in you. Now, season 4, Shosh has graduated. She took a summer class or two and now she's looking for a job. And she is just like not having the best luck. Sometimes it's the culture fit, like at that law office or that high rise. And then sometimes it's her being overly truthful. Back to season 3. She using her voice. Girl using it a little bit too much. She's interviewing at, I think, what was it, Ann Taylor Loft or something like that, or some clothing brand. And they're like ready to hire her on the spot. And she's like, oh, no, I don't think you're going to see me. And they were really confused. She's like, this was just a practice interview. I'm going to look for a better job. It's like, girl, you don't say that. Oh. Sometimes you want to say that. Sometimes you just want to be really truthful. There are moments where I work with people and I'm like, I really just want to be truthful and be like, I don't want to work with you. I actually did end a contract with somebody about a month ago and it was a lot kinder. I didn't say it like that, but it was like I was honest. I was like, this is not a culture fit. Like, you're not giving me what I need to do to thrive. So I'm going to go find some other opportunities. Like sometimes in life, in work, there are moments where you just kind of say like, hey, I got this other opportunity, right? And you can keep it vague. But for certain experiences, there is the time where you're like, you know what? I've asked for this. I can't get this. This isn't a culture fit. Good luck. I wish you the best. I am not the person for you. Now that job interview, that was not the time for it. That was not the time for it. Go learn a lesson from networking from Marnie in our Marnie video because Marnie is very good at networking. And Shoshanna, even if she didn't accept the job, even if she said, oh, you know what, like, I had a great conversation, I don't think it's a fit at this time, that's still a contact she could have to maybe be connected with on, I don't even know if LinkedIn was a thing, but I don't know, help her find another job. But she is just not knowing that right now. She's young. Okay, it's fine. It was still hilarious to watch. So thank you, Lena and Judd, for that. And this is where she meets like that boyfriend at that soup company, and she says that it smells like Badusi, which was, I was rolling on the floor laughing. So my friend Kat introduced me to the show, and so the first time I was watching this, I'm like live texting her and being like, oh my god, this moment, oh my god, this. I was dying laughing at this moment. I'm texting her and I'm recording the TV, and she's like, oh, you got to Badusi, you got to Badusi. I was like, I did. Oh my god, it's so good. And somehow he's just like well, do you want to go on a date? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. Like, she was so rude. So sometimes she's really nice on interviews, and then other times she's like, I need to be more direct. And then she's like really mean, and she's like, I hate the name. I hate the name. I hate this. This smells like Badoosie. I do. Just chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. So then she's having a really hard time. She has another bad interview, and she happens upon Ray, and she's like, can I just spend the day with you? I don't know what I'm supposed to do without a job right now. And it was this really sweet time where she was like, I know that we weren't meant to be together, but I want to be your friend. I'm here for you. And I love their friendship. I love their friendship so much. And I've even heard in interviews that Zasha believes that Shosh and Ray are still best friends to this day. I don't think they get together. I don't think she thinks they get together. That perception might change. It's just one interview, but I agree. I think that they are such good friends. And a little bit before this is when the episode sit-in happens, where Hannah comes back from grad school and realizes that Adam is now with Mimi Rose Eleanor Howard. Hannah has basically called everybody and no one has answered her except for Shoshanna. So she asks her, she's like, am I the only one who didn't know about this? And it kind of feels like you're like, oh great, I'm a third tier friend, but she's a really good friend. She's like, okay, I'm gonna make you some tea. Let's look up everything about this person and let's hate on her together, right? And then she finds out that Mimi Rose Eleanor Howard is a keynote speaker, and she's like, you know what? No, let's not. Let's not look at this. Let's just, you know what? Just stay. So she's a really good friend. And it's kind of sad that Hannah, won't prioritize her as a friend. She's calling up, Marty or Jessa first. I can feel for Shosh being a third tier friend and being like, girl, I'm a great friend. Why are you not telling me? And we see this later on in the season where Hannah doesn't even tell her that she's pregnant. And that's when Shosh got really upset, where she's like, well, you literally told every single person you were pregnant except for me. So since she's still kind of trying to look for a job, she decides to put a lot of her energy into helping Ray with his campaign, and she's really good at it. She's a marketing girly. She's very resourceful, and it's adorable. She feels like it feels like she's like the president's wife, and she has the whole cake, and she has this whole party, and she's trying to be a little bit more upfront with Scott is his name. And then she goes on another job interview that's perfect for her, but the one caveat is that it's in Japan. And so we wonder, is Shosh going to go to Japan? And of course she does, and she becomes Japanese Shosh. And I remember my friend Kat texting me being like, I can't wait for you to get to this next season because I love what happens with Shosh. I love Shosh's whole trajectory in this next season, and I couldn't agree more. Season 4 Shosh is work. She's looking for work, and when she can't find work, she is creating her own, like the campaign manager for Ray. And she's working so hard this season to get work. And then by the end of the season, she nails it. She finds this amazing opportunity where she can really learn a lot about a different culture. She's in her early 20s. She has not anything tied to New York City. It's like, why not? I would totally do the same thing. If you're in a transitional period of your life, if you feel like you have been looking for another job or have been looking for a place to move or a partner or anything that can help you transition to this next phase of your life, then just know there's moments where you might be a little too honest. There's moments where you might not be honest enough. Finding all of these different jobs or relationships or whatever it might be for your case, it really just takes experimentation. And you see that she acts very differently in all these different interviews, and that's exactly what's going to happen to all of us. We just need to experiment in what works for us. As I started my own business, I learned a lot about the ways that I communicate with people and network. I'm very whimsical, and I use a lot of exclamation points, and I say XOXO, and I use a lot of emojis, but I didn't know that at the beginning because I just felt like I needed work and I needed clients, and that was all that my brain was on. Once I did that a bajillion times, then I started discovering really who I was in that. But sometimes you just gotta throw spaghetti at the wall in order to see what fits. And in this case, what fits is Japan. But before we go to Japan, in season 5, we actually open with Marnie's wedding, where Shoshanna is talking about being back in Japan, but she's physically back in America. And she's like, oh, I'm not gonna invite Scott to this. I don't want to rock the boat of a long-distance relationship by seeing him. And she's ironing all the dresses, and she's like, I've become so good at doing all this ironing. There's this show called Foldable Press that I feel like I'd be so good at. And she has all the stories from Japan, which I feel like is so, so cute. And even though she has this long-distance boyfriend, she really has a crush on her boss, Yoshi, in Japan. And gosh, imagine working in an office like that in Japan. I kind of want to go to Japan just from that one episode of seeing it. And it's a very, very cute relationship. Now, should she be cheating on Scott? No, absolutely not. But at this point, I have thrown all my morals out the window by watching this show, and you just got to too. Because, again, all of these girls are super imperfect, and the infidelity is just something I have to be okay with in the context of this show. But right when we see her so excited in Japan, we also see that her boss lets her go in a very indirect way, which is so relatable, because if I ever had to let someone go, honestly, that's exactly how I would do it. I'd be like, it's a light ending. The position's going to be eliminated, and you won't be showing up to work. And she's like, am I getting fired? And she's like, no, it's managing down or whatever. Like, she just can't say, we have to let you go. I would not be able to do that either. Thank God, I don't want to be a manager ever. I don't ever want to do that to someone. And meanwhile, she tells Scott, and Scott's like, come back home, I'll take care of you. And honestly, I thought that was so sweet. Like, I don't know a lot about this boy, but he seems sweet. I think she sees elements of him where she's like, oh my gosh, he's like this rich guy, and I basically don't have to work at all. And I think she's afraid that she's going to fall victim to that and be like, if I don't need to work, I won't work, and I'll just become one of those wives that don't work. And I want that for myself. I want a job. For her, right? Nothing wrong with that. But like for her, I think she doesn't want that. And so she stands him up at the airport. And I thought that was sad. I felt bad for Scott. So she really wants to stay in Japan. So she finds a temporary job at a cat cafe. And she's just miserable. Like, she really wants to stay in Japan. But she's like, yeah, it's great. Like, I work at a cat cafe. And I just, like, she's so sad. And her former boss comes to visit her, and she's like, you know what, I'm going to take you out to Japan, and I'm going to show you how amazing it is. But then by the end of the trip, she's like, I don't have anything here. Like, I work at a cat cafe, and I have this long-distance boyfriend back at home, and I don't have a job anymore, and she gets really upset. So we've assumed by this time, I think she's ghosted Scott, which we realize as she's back in New York. She's so miserable coming back home. She really doesn't want to be back home. But she somehow has an unpleasant run-in with Scott with like one of the funniest lines in the show, where he's like, you can't just take government resources from people. Like, you can't go on welfare. You're eating at a sushi spot. Like, just find a job. And she's like, oh, so now I can't get food stamps because I'm Jewish? Like, oh, God. Amazing line. Just amazing line. I laughed so hard at that. And you just see, again, the Shosh brain. You see the Shosh brain going. You see her drawing conclusions from one thing to another. It kind of reminds me of when she's right before she gets let go. And she's like, you know how people say you can't run away from your problems? I moved away from mine, and it's been amazing. Like, she hears cliches, and one thing happens to her, and she thinks like X plus Y equals Z. And for this too, she hears him say something, X plus Y equals Z. She just kind of draws very quick conclusions that you would never imagine, but you're like, I can see how you got there, but also no. So she's back from Japan. She stops by Hermie's shop, and Ray's like, Shosh, is that you? Like, I just thought that was such a cute little... They were so happy to see each other. And she sees a gap. She's learning networking. She is learning networking here. She sees that there's a gap in the market. She sees that this coffee shop, nobody's there. She don't got no job. So she says, let me do marketing. This is exactly what I do. And she does a fantastic job at it. She markets it as like the anti-hipster place. And I love when she goes into the other coffee shop and she has the detective's coat on and she asks them to give her like a few words. And that's how she kind of knows they're like the hipster place. And she's like, okay, we're going to be the anti-hipster place. And we see Shosh like really getting things together, especially when Marnie and Ray are like hooking up with each other. And I think they're staying over with Shosh. Somehow Ray is like staying over with Shosh and Marnie is there. And you just see this little moment between them like, oh, you read the paper? Oh my gosh, that guy in the paper. Yeah, it's funny. And then Ray's like, gluten-free bread. And Shosh is like, I know you're gluten-free. Like, they're just vibing together. And Marnie is like, Marnie doesn't have that with Ray. Like, Marnie doesn't remember things. Marnie isn't thoughtful and caring like Shoshanna is. To Ray, at least. The theme of season 5 for Shosh is marketing. Now that sounds kind of lame, but like, think about it. She had a marketing job in Japan. She has a marketing job now, and she's kind of learning how to market herself too. Everything is its own brand. And if you market yourself as what your dreams are, you'll be able to achieve it. So think about the sorts of things that you want to do. How are you marketing it to people right now? When people ask you what you do, what's the first thing you say? For me, I'm looking to transition more into the content creator space, acting, singing. So it could be a little challenging though, because as I'm not currently on tour or in anything, saying that I'm an actor or singer, it can sometimes be hard. So being a content creator is very helpful because I'm like, oh yeah, I'm a content creator, I create content. And then once I start acting, I could be like, yeah, I act in this and blah, 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 blah. So think about what you're marketing yourself as. If you have some aspirations, how do you talk about yourself to other people? So Shoshanna goes to this networking event that was hosted by some friends she had back in high school or college that now own Jamba Jeans. And she's realizing like, wow, all these people are so successful. And if I had just become friends with them, maybe I would be like that too. Somehow Jessa gets invited to this thing. Jessa asks to come. And Shoshanna realizes, Jessa, you've messed up so much for me. Like I was supposed to be friends with them and you were the one who dragged me away from the spring break trip. I think those Jamba Jeans girls are super posery and annoying, and I don't think that she needed to be around them. But I see a truth to what she's saying and realizing that some people are holding her back, kind of like season 2 of Break. Like, who are the people that are holding me back? She had this like really firm realization that the people around her are just not the types of people she wants to be around. And she even sees that with Elijah, because Elijah comes along too. And he's like complaining about things and saying really trivial stuff. And this camera just kind of pans in on her and she's like, I don't want to be like this. Like, I don't want to be like these people in 4 years. So we don't see much of her in season 6, but we do see that she's hanging around with Ray, and then her old boss finds them. They must be like in the same neck of the woods somehow, and she ends up spending the day with Ray. And I thought it was really cute that Abigail and Ray were hitting it off. Shoshanna did not seem to like it at all. I don't know if she was like jealous or maybe she was confused, but I thought that dynamic was super cute. And then we realize somehow, I don't know how much time has gone by, that Shoshanna is actually engaged. And she has an engagement party. And we find this out because Hannah's having a really rough time. And she rings up to Shoshanna's room just to see if she's around. And she realizes that she has this party. She didn't invite her. She barely invited Jessa. The only person who was really invited was Marty, because Marty's been the person trying to keep everyone together. And as much as you might be a Marty hater, Marty is a very good friend for the most part. Not a good partner, but a good friend. And this is that really amazing scene of all of them in the bathroom. So the last scene that they're all together in the entire series, where Shoshanna says, this is why we can't be friends. Anytime we're all in a room together, we make it completely and entirely about themselves. And she even admits that her fiance has had to go to like Al-Anon to deal with how selfish she is, and that she's done work on herself. Now again, was her delivery great? No. She could have been kinder, but also, what is kind? It's relative. In a very pure moment at the end of this episode, the last episode of all of them together, we actually see them all dancing together in slow motion. I can't remember if Shosh was dancing with them. I feel like I saw scenes of Shosh dancing, and I saw scenes of the others dancing and Marty dancing with guys. And Hannah and Jessa were dancing together, which was good because like there was the whole Adam thing that tore them apart. I think the bigger picture was that they were all dancing together just like at the beginning. Even though relationships and dynamics have been very different from them, they are all kind of back to, in just this moment, in this fleeting moment, they're all back to who they were in season 1. Season 6, Shoshanna, she has grown. She has grown past the drama. She has grown up. She is now one of the ladies, as she would say in season 1. She's engaged, and she has strong friendships like Ray, and I bet she has a job too. Like, she's grown up a lot more than all these other girls. Whereas, Hannah's pregnant, she's kind of figuring it out. Marnie doesn't really have a house to live in. Who the heck knows what Jessa's doing now? Shoshanna's really the one that has it put together. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I have these moments where I look around my house, or I just look around my life and I'm like, damn girl, you did it! Like, you did it. In my early 20s, when I was living in Manhattan, I would go to a lot of people's apartments and I'm like, I can't wait to be able to afford an apartment. I can't wait to be able to afford to furnish an apartment, have a fancy job where people pay me. And now I'm sitting here, I'm like, you did it, girl. you did it, you know? Like, so you can celebrate that. I think that's a big part of season 6 show. Now, I personally identify as a Shoshanna, but if you identify with more of a Marnie and want a few tips on how you can use her lore to your advantage in your life and manifesting your dreams, go ahead and hit the next video right now, and I'll see you there. Bye.